Welcome back, everyone. Shall we proceed? I believe the timer for that sandbox thing must have gone, and you must have got this activate sandbox button over here. If not, just once try refreshing this page, right? And we'll get the new sandbox activated here. Okay, so here it says it's activated, and I click this link, get logged in. And we have a new sandbox here. So just check if it is working for you, especially those who are getting issues.
Yes, Saket, it's working now.
Yeah. Maybe something went wrong with the sandbox. Now it's a fresh sandbox, so there should be no problem. So again, just like what we tried doing in the morning, as I said that the APIM instance takes a lot of time to get deployed. So we'll start with that deployment once more, and then we'll get back to the logic app thing. So quickly say create resource and go to integration where we have API management. Select the right subscription and resource group with location as West US 2. The name for the APIM, right? Because the sandbox is expired, the deployment also gets deleted and this becomes available. The same name I'm using. Same details that we used in the morning, I'm going with them. And here we selected the pricing tier as basic. Maybe we can try with developer also. Say next. Insights I want to keep off. Next. For developer and consumption tier, the scale units are not there. By default, there is one scale unit. Next. Managed identity I don't want right now. So say next. Virtual network. I'm going with none as of now. Say next. These all defaults I'll be working with. Let's provide the tags. Give the tag values. Next. And create. Okay, so once this page comes, the API and deployment starts. And we keep that in backend. Go to a new
Saket,
page.
I'm not
Yes.
sure if it is just for me, but your screen is freezed.
Is it the same for everyone?
Yes, Saket.
Yes, Saket.
Okay, okay. Let me disconnect and connect again. Just check now.
Yeah, it seems fine now, Saket.
Yeah,
Deployment is
maybe
in progress is currently visible.
right, correct. So once that is done, just open another tab and browse to portal.azure.com. Do the login. Now we are going to see the logic app stuff. Okay, so here I'll say create resource. Under integration, we have logic app. This seems to be a different one. So let's search for logic app and then click on create. Resource group and subscription you select. Instance details, we have two types, consumption and standard. Standard means the regular logic app stuff. Consumption means the serverless implementation. Okay, so pay as you go model comes in with consumption. But now we'll go with standard. Logic app name I'll give as, this has to be globally unique. So I'll say OI demo logic app. How I want to publish this, the workflow directly, or I want this also to be containerized version. I'm going with workflow and change the region to West US2. Next, storage account. It will be a new one this time. It's a new sandbox, which will hold the definition of workflow. So new one is suggested already. I'm okay with that. Plan type workflow standard. And then here we go for Windows plan. I'm okay with that. Default configuration for both Windows plan and SKU and size. That talks about the hardware resources which this workflow is going to use, which eventually is directly related to your price. So if you want to see, we can click on change size. And here we have options. Under production, we have these WS1, WS2, WS3. Isolated is not supported yet. So only 3 options we have as of now. Let's go with WS1. Say apply. Next. If app insights required or not. And now I'm saying no. Say next. Tags. Next. Okay, it says some policy violation. Let's see what it is. Okay. SKU policy probably doesn't allow us to create a standard plan based workflow. Let's go back and change the plan there, the SKU there. So maybe here I can change it first. Okay, location also has a challenge. Maybe on first page itself I change it to consumption. Name remains the same. Location will be West US 2. Next. Add the tags. Next. So consumption plan eventually we are using, which is supported by this sandbox environment. Something missed here. It says form validation failed in basic tab. Let's go there and see. Possibly the name. So I can say this is 1, 2, 3. Let's validate again. Done. I'll say create. So one main difference between this consumption plan and standard plan would be consumption plan would allow you to have a single logic app with single workflow, whereas standard plan will allow you to have more than one workflows also running within a single logic app. So that's one of the main difference. Apart from that, it's more or less the same. It's deployed. Let's say go to resource. Directly it goes to Logic Apps Designer. So I hope everyone is on this page. Yes. Yes, everyone on this page, Logic App Designer.
Yes, Saket.
Now here we need to create a business flow, which will ultimately define the logic for that flow also with the help of different connectors. And the first connector that you put in must be a trigger based connector, so that we configure the logic app in such a way that it automatically gets started based on that trigger, just like function apps. So some of the common trigger templates are already there, like when a message is received in a service bus queue, when a HTTP request is received, when a tweet is posted, when an event grid resource event occurs. Recurrence means schedule based. When a new email is received in Outlook.com, when a new file is created on OneDrive, when a file is added to FTP server, etc. But these are just some initial templates which will provide you the sample orchestration already created by Microsoft. If you are looking for building something entirely customized, in that case you can start with blank Logica and then you can use whatever connectors you want. There are some other templates available here as well. These are complete sample applications as logic apps which are created. Like here I can see 3 services being used. Send me an email when a new item is added to SharePoint list. Here, email yourself new tweets about a certain keyword via Outlook, and maybe a reply is posted at the end. Different business flows are there. Maybe something like if someone posts a support ticket, I want the email to be generated automatically for some support associate, and there has to be a tracking that has got some SLA also, that it has to be replied to within 24 hours. If not, that support ticket should be escalated to the support engineer's reporting manager. Okay, many times we see the requirement of such kind of flows. Yes or no? The most common one could be like you apply for leave. Your manager somehow himself is on leave, not able to access the mails. What will happen to your request? Automatically, it should be escalated to the next manager or maybe manager's manager, who can then take the decision. Right? So that you will not be waiting for his approval or rejection infinitely. Does that make sense? So in this, basically there is a process, there is a business flow. Do this, do this, do this. If stuck for so many hours or minutes or seconds or days, then choose a different path, something like that. Make sense or not? We'll be starting with a blank logic app. Click on blank logic app template, where it will not design anything for me by default. I need to build the entire workflow myself. So my requirement is pretty simple, where I'm looking for someone to send me a mail. Let's say to my ID, whatever it is, I can configure my receiving ID simply. Maybe not this, I can use my official one. That will be a little quick as well. As it's already integrated with Office 365. When a mail is received containing the subject having the keyword as order, I want some workflow to start. That workflow, first of all, reads the subject, and reads the body, and then makes this available to the next activity, where I want the subject and body probably to be saved into a blob or into a queue. Maybe a queue can be used, where it can be processed further. And once it is added to the queue, I want to send a thank you email to the requester, xyz abc.com. Suppose is the sender. So I want to originate a thank you email, which goes back to the original requester. Isn't it looking like a flow? Yes or no?
Yes, Saket.
Okay, so we'll be simulating the same thing. So here we go to the portal. As per this diagram, first I'm looking for a mail being received by this account, right? And this could be a triggering action as well. So I go for searching for a connector for Outlook. There are two types of Outlook accounts. Outlook.com for personal IDs. If I configure this ID as the receiver, I will need this. If it's a Office 365 account, which I want to configure, I will select Office 365 Outlook. There can be other providers also for which the connectors might be already available. So you can look for that also. Maybe something like Gmail. Let's see if there is a ready-made connector. If there is no connector, we can create a custom connector. We do have a Gmail connector already. That's why this workflow is termed to be a integration platform, right? Connects different systems. I select Office 365 Outlook. I believe this should work for you guys also, as most likely your emails are being served via Office 365 only. Okay. And as we are already logged into the system with Office 365 account, probably it won't ask us to log in again. If it does, just log in. Now what I'm looking for on Office 365. When a new email arrives, or when a new email arrives in a shared mailbox. Shared mailbox means a mailbox created in such a way that there are multiple IDs who can access that mailbox, a common mailbox. When a new email mentioning me arrives, new event is created, email is flagged, a new event is added, updated, or deleted, event is modified, upcoming event is starting soon, various triggering actions are there. I say my requirement is simple. When a new email arrives, I select this connector. Then it asks me to sign in. It needs to know, the workflow needs to know which account is going to be used for this activity. Yes or no? So we say sign in. So this is where if you are already signed in into this browser session, it will just read that context and will get you signed in, or else it will ask you to sign in. If it does, you can just say yes, sign in. Yeah, so it is this account, saket@optimisticinfo.com. I select it. As I'm already logged in into the context of the browser, it doesn't further ask me to provide me further credentials. I'm directly on this view. If it does ask you for the passwords and OTP or authenticator app, just complete that flow. And once it is done properly, you will be on this view directly. Understood? Understood till here? Yes?
Yes, Saket.
Now it is like which folder we want to check the email for. Default is inbox, but we can actually go and decide in which folder we want to check for it. Is it inbox, or if some custom created folder is there? For now, I'm looking for inbox only. Inbox doesn't have subfolders, so I'm okay with inbox. So maybe I can just go back and select inbox directly to come back here. Then what is the importance? The order importance can be low, normal, high. Not order, actually mail importance. In Outlook, we can specify that, right? I say order is order. So importance, no matter whether it is low, high, or medium, I want each order to be processed. Yes. The next thing is whether I want to filter the mails which have got attachments. So yes, I want only those mails to be processed which has attachment, where the attachment could be representing the order detail file, maybe some Excel sheet or something, or Word document. Do I need to include attachment and make them available for subsequent connectors? So I say yes. There is no parameter over here for checking the subject. I said check the subject if it contains order into it or not. So I say add new parameter. I select subject filter, click in the blank area. It automatically gives me the new parameter subject filter, and then it says string to look for in the subject line. I'm simply looking for string order. Save whatever is designed till now. So when new email arrives, I'm filtering the email for the email containing the subject with order included into it, and the email which has got attachments. Only those emails I'm making available for subsequent connectors. So if we look at the diagram, probably we have done that till here. What is next? I want the request body to be put into queue and the attachment, or maybe let's change this requirement a bit. Instead of putting the request body into the queue, I probably want the attachment to be put into the blob. Right? So what is the connector I should be using then as the next activity? Should be something to do with blobs or not? Of course, yes. So here I say new step. It automatically designs the flow. The output of this activity automatically goes to the next operation or next connector as input. Here what I'm looking for is a connector for blob. This connector need not be a trigger connector. Yes, it is Azure Storage Blob that I'm looking for. What I want to do here, I want to say, please create a blob for me. Then I need to specify the name for the connection, the authentication type, how I'm going to log into that storage account, and then the storage account name. And the access key I need to specify. How do I get this? For this, I open another tab, go to portal.azure.com and get a storage account created. So let's create a resource. storage account. Name it as OI demo storage. Has to be globally unique. Location West US 2. Performance standard. Redundancy locally redundant. Next. This I'm going with all defaults. Next. Again defaults. Next. This is also defaults. Next. I provide the tags. Next. Create. So the details that we look for here will be available once the storage account is created. We'll pre-create a container also for blobs. So I want all of my blobs to be put into a predefined container. Okay. I say go to resource. Here I go to data storage containers and create a container by the name orders. Public access level, I'm just saying it should be set to private, no anonymous objects or access, and then say create. So container is created by the name orders. I'll go back one level to overview, and here I can see the fully qualified name for the container. I mean the storage account as well. If not visible here, we can go to should be something called as properties. Or we can simply go to access keys and say show keys. This is my storage account name. Let's copy this. The connection name I'll say is storage account name followed by underscore followed by connection. Access key based authentication I want.
Saket,
Next
sorry,
it is yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
select the key on the connection screen?
See what I did is I went for access keys.
Right.
Here I have the storage account name.
Correct.
I copied this.
Right.
Then for connection name, I pasted that name followed by underscore connection I type.
Correct. Right.
That can be anything, but for my understanding, I use the storage account name actually in that.
Okay.
Next, the actual storage account name. So here you cannot put just anything. It should be the real storage account name.
Okay.
And then storage account access key would require me one of the key from here, either key 1 or key 2.
Got it.
So I copy key 1 and paste it here and say create. Okay. Once I'm connected, here it will ask me for some other details like the storage account name. I'll say use connection settings. I've already given that, right? Then specify folder path to upload. I click on this button where it shows me the container orders. I select that. It automatically takes the path. Then I click on the next box. Specify name of the blob to create. By what name I want to create this blob. Maybe here I can say it should be text order dash append, and then I want to append the message ID, which is always going to be unique ID for me. So here, if you see by default, for dynamic content, it is showing me a pop-up. If it is not visible, I can just click on add dynamic content. This pop-up will become visible then. And there I can search for something called as message ID. Let's select this. So it will be concatenated, where order hyphen will be always there, message ID will be dynamically picked and concatenated to the rest of the expression. Understood? Then comes the blob content, what I want to upload.
Saket, if in case there are multiple attachments in same message, then what will happen?
Yeah, so that also can be handled. For that, what you can do is you can use a connector that is like for each attachment. Do this particular activity.
Okay, okay.
Or else you can combine those contents into a separate folder where the folder name will be order hyphen message ID, and then the blob can be created with whatever name you want. Maybe order hyphen message ID hyphen 1, 2, 3, and so on. So you have the iterative constructs also. Got my point, Shori?
Got it.
You just need to explore the other connectors, which include the basic language constructs also. Okay.
Got it.
Now, in this case, to keep it simple, I'm assuming there will be at least and at most one attachment only. Okay. So here comes the blob content. What we want to upload. It is the attachment, isn't it? So here, when I click, the dynamic content box is already popped up, but by default, it doesn't show me anything. But see here, we already have the input from the previous operation. When a new email arrives v3, I just click on see more and I can see different options here. Right? I can upload the content of body, content of subject to CC, BCC, whatever. All details are there. Right? Here I say go for attachments item. See, in fact, it by default got it as for each because there can be multiple attachments, right? So it already took it that way. And maybe then here I can say the name of the blob to be created is message ID, order hyphen message ID, and maybe what I can do is to make it unique.
Attachment ID.
Yeah, so we can use this attachment ID to make it unique. Okay, and then here I say add further step. What I want as per our diagram, I want to send the thank you email back to the requester, right? So again, I say the connector is Office 365 Outlook. Here comes the different actions which I can do. Let's search for send email or something.
Saket, is this the another action or another step?
Step.
Okay.
Okay, so here I have send an email option. We do have reply to email also, in fact, but that will include the original email content, right? Reply means reply. Send an email will originate a fresh mail. So depends how I want to take it ahead. If I say reply to email, that will also be good. ID of the email to reply to. So here I'll then go and select message ID. And then the message body, I can say I need to select the parameter body. And then there I say, thank you for your order. The advantage with reply is I don't need to set to and CC and BCC and all. It will just set it up automatically. It's just like reply all. Okay.
Saket, this is the message ID of newer email that we are going to send now, not the old one.
Whatever that we are going to receive.
This
See,
is the ID of.
if I remove this, what it is asking for, let me start over again with this activity. I'll just get this deleted. Right, we said new step. We said Office 365 Outlook, and there we selected reply to email, correct? See what it is saying, ID of the email to reply to. So whatever email I've received, ID of that email I want so that I can create a correlation.
Got it.
Understood, sure? So that's why I selected message ID of the received email. And then here I said add body parameter. And within the body, I said, thank you for. If I want, I can do the formatting. Whatever I want. Okay. And that's it. Suppose that is my flow. I just say save. And then to test this workflow, anyways, this is going to be triggered automatically behind scenes also whenever there is an email received. But to test this, I'll just say run trigger and run. So it's just like a debugger attached, and it's just continuously checking the trigger, whether it is getting some hit or not. To hit this further, I just open another tab, go to any of the email account. And here I say compose. The email ID on which the workflow is created is this. I say subject contains order for the other text I want. Some text. And there I attach a file. Maybe something like this. Same. Very soon we should get a notification that the email is received. Whenever the trigger is checked, I mean, once it hits my server, it should actually be showing me that the workflow is working. Meanwhile, I'll just check for the mail. It should have displayed it by now. Yeah, here, in fact, I got the response also. That means it has performed its job. This is what we are returning from the workflow, isn't it? And at the same time, we'll go to storage account, containers, orders, and here I see the order, which is actually the blob representing my Excel sheet. Right, so this is a simple workflow example, which we can actually further update to have a very, very complex business scenario also implemented. Don't you think this is going to be useful? How many lines of code we wrote for this? That's the most interesting part actually. How many lines we wrote? Do you agree that
None.
it's not a single line of code we wrote for this? Agree?
Yes.
So don't you think this is really interesting part?
Yes.
So many complex business processes can be automated this way. Simple or complex or medium level complexity based processes easily can be implemented with this. Once we have the understanding, what are the steps, what all is required, maybe as a diagram, some domain expert can let us know. And if we have all the activities or the connectors available, which can match with that requirement directly, we don't need to do anything. Just compose our workflow using this Logic App Designer straight away and start using it. Does that make sense or not? Chances of issues, chances of errors will be less because we are not coding at all. And the steps, whenever required, can be changed easily. I can just go to the designer. And here I can just drag and drop the steps also. Right? I can add new steps in between. I can remove any of the existing step. All configuration I can do visually. And most importantly, this visual stuff is not just a diagram. It is actually a functional logic. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, Saket.
Interesting, right?
Saket, I got the reply mail, but there is no orders shown here.
In the blog, you mean?
Yeah, in the container
There
orders.
should be, because if there is some error, actually your reply email also should not come. So can you share your screen? Let me check what's going wrong.
Yes. I got the reply,
Mhm.
but I can't find here any order.
Can you click on refresh? Okay, can you go back one level? This is okay. Now can you show me the Logic App Designer? Yeah, here it is showing tick, tick, tick. Somehow for me it was not showing up. I was just waiting for this only. Tick mark means it is done successfully. So I want to see the actual designer then. Click on designer button. Click on for each to expand it. Click on create block. And what you have done is account name, you have said use connection settings. Folder path is correctly selected. Specify name of the blob to create. Order hyphen message ID hyphen attachments attachment ID. Blob content, I guess, could be the issue.
Okay.
It's not current item actually. Can you remove that and add again?
Um, shall I add
Yeah.
message ID?
And then select attachments.
Attachments item.
Attachments.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, select attachments.
Yes.
Save. Run trigger and then send a mail again.
Okay, I'll try.
Or else, even if this doesn't work, just remove that activity, the second one, and add it again. You know the process, right?
Yeah, I'll do
It's
it.
all about configuration going here and there, nothing else.
Okay.
With few tries, you should be able to get it done. It's not difficult, right?
Yes, Saket.
Here, the most important part is the flow, understanding of the flow. If we know that, the issues can be fixed pretty easily. While doing the configuration, few things may go here and there. That's why the things may not work out, but then it's not that difficult, right? Okay.
Okay, Saket.
Now, the next thing is something about the custom connectors. What are custom connectors? Any idea? Let me close this meanwhile. The mailbox also I'll close. I'm back to the Logic app. I have thousands of connectors available out of the box, but still some of my business requirement may not be getting fulfilled. Like I want to place a new order for X number of shares on so and so stock exchange. I may not have a ready-made activity for that or the connector for that. What will I do? Most likely there must be API exposed by the stock exchange for that. To purchase the shares, to sell the shares. Yes or no? They won't be giving me the direct access to their database for security reasons. Whatever access is there, that would be through the API. Agreed? Using that API, I can create a custom connector. So for this to be tried, we'll go back to Visual Studio and we'll open one of our project where we created the web APIs. So here, let me see if that API app is visible. There it is, API demo web API. Last week we did this. In fact,
Saket, are you sharing your screen?
is it visible now?
Yes.
So this is the same web API project we built, where we had that departments API controller and sample API controller. If you don't remember, I'll just run it to have some idea of what this API is all about. Here I go and say slash Swagger. Right, departments API most likely will not work out because we modified this to talk to a SQL Azure database, which we deleted also later on. Most likely here we are going to get the error, but still we have one API, that is sample API, which doesn't depend on any database or anything, and which may work out for us. Meanwhile, I just click here and say get and try it out, where I'm getting the response. So right now my focus is this API only, sample API. Okay. I want a custom connector to be created so that within my logic app workflow, I can integrate the logic of sample API straight away. So for that, what I need to do first is publish this web API to an app service. So right click here on web API project and say publish. This is folder profile. I don't want that. It is this one which I want to use. But then this is going somewhere else. It's better I create a new profile. So I select Azure, next. Azure App Service, Windows, next. This is the subscription for Sandbox. No app service instances are there as yet. So here I simply say create a new app service. I'm okay with this name. Resource group it automatically took. Hosting plan it is looking to create on its own, but location I have a different requirement. So I click on new here. Name I can change here. Location I can change here to West US 2. Size whatever I want. Maybe I'm looking for S1. Say OK. Create. Okay, policy doesn't allow S1. No problem. Let's say new here again. and let's downgrade to B1. Okay, create. Let's see if this is allowed. Otherwise, we'll fall back to F1. Not allowed. So again, I say new and go for free F1. Okay, create. This must be allowed. Okay, so it's done here. Say finish and then finally publish. So this is a known thing. We have posted multiple web applications till now. It's loading here, so it is going to show me the Azure hosted API now. I just check this sample API once, try it out, and here I see it's working. So one important thing I need from here is using the path being shown here, which takes me to the JSON document containing the Open API specification. I mean, the JSON formatted metadata of this API opened. And I want to get this saved as a JSON file on my local machine. Just press Ctrl S, that will open up the Save As dialog, and it will show you the file name as V1 followed by Save As type as JSON file. Let's give the file name as my APIs. Extension JSON, it will take automatically. Save it. Here is the JSON file. Let's open this file. In Visual Studio, it opens like this. Right? One single line, basically for minification, it does that, but that's okay. And opening the file is important only to verify that it has opened correctly. I mean, it has been downloaded correctly. Let's close this. Now back to the portal where we are working with Logic Apps. So in fact, we will go back to home. We'll say create a resource. I want the connectors to be created based on that API now, sample API precisely. So here I search for app Okay, this way it's not finding. Let me search only for connector. No. Let's search for custom. Yes, with this I get Logic Apps custom connector. Select it, create. Subscription and resource group, you know what to do. Region will be West US 2. That's what we are using all along. What name you want to give to this customer connector? Let's say I want to give it a name as sample API. It could be stock exchange API, NSE API, BSE API, and so on. And then go to next, give the tags. Review plus create. And once the create button gets enabled, just create. You might be wondering where we give the input of the API, right? Natural question. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, Saket.
So the point is, here you simply create a container for connectors. The actual connector configuration is done later. Once the connector is deployed, you say go to resource. The connector information is there. Here I need to import my API. Right? All details I have here. To import the API, here on the overview tab itself, you have a button called as edit in the toolbar. Can you see that?
Yes.
Click on edit button. This is where you are going to import your API. It's asking you a few questions. How do you want to create your connector? What is your API endpoint? Is it a REST service or is it an old style XML based SOAP service? What it means is I can integrate with anything, REST based service or SOAP based service, both. But now our web API is REST service. Next is import mode. Open API file I want to upload or open API URL I want to give. I mean that URL which we use to get that file downloaded, that can also be used directly. Or if I have created some API collection using the Postman tool, I can upload that as well. This open API URL is having some issues as of now. I'm not sure whether it is corrected or not. Need to check. So instead of wasting time, we'll go for open API file as we have already downloaded the definition, right? Select this and then here you click on import, which opens a file open dialog. Go to the desktop where we have saved our API definition by the name My APIs. Select it, open. If you want to change some icon for the identification of your API, you can upload. Here you can specify the color to be used behind the icon. Maybe I want a blue color. So I say hash 00 FF00 RGB, right? Description. sample API providing quotes, and then this one will come into picture if your API is hosted in on-premises server. Otherwise, this is not required. Then how it is accessible? Via HTTPS or HTTP or both. So if we look at our deployment, we can get the input from there itself. This is my API. We just need the URL for this particular application. It's HTTPS based, right? Keep this ready. I'll say it is HTTPS scheme. It has already taken the path. You can confirm from here. From the definition, it automatically picked up, and then the base URL, whatever you want. And then I click on security. That is the next step, step 2. How the authentication is set. So right now, if you see, our API is not using any authentication. So I don't need to do editing over here. I can just say, go to the third step, definition. Here I can provide some summary. An extension to the description only. Further description if you want. This is only for, making sure that the connector shows enough information about my API.